Abana and Timi are successful. There is nowhere NPP can be successful in 2024. That's what they should know.
And so, Dr. Baumia, so no. One can be just say we are close to Dr. Baumia, no asunda for moi. Say he has a president to serve, and the president has a government to present to the people and work to do. So he's committed to serving the president and committed to your friend saying committed to serving the president and committed to being part of the digitization platform and government. You know, episode ediba. People say so no privately saying a worker. At the end, I'm a nipa bisuso and na machire suso a ye presenting as if say with his consent and yes sir.
Politics, you know. Yeah, na manfo bi ba abontin be kasa sa. I say mfisho animu no. Ani mfinimu bi se de be ya aban no anasa nipa na wo mo kasa ma no so baba mu a wo mo so benya bibia firi ho. Enti no megidi say the best thing ebeboa NPP party ni say nipa minu ekwa na sisi omudi abeda bontin alanchiramatin ni vice president Baumia ominu kwa betimi akabum aye press conference publicly akachiro my staff nyina say sisi no the focus is on the government, the Akufo-Addo's government for now. Number permanent omebeba bontin ambeba into be a campaign no be ampa more the entire bandage. Now those people who are closer to them also say no kasa okukuamu and so kase obi ampa more the entire bandage here. Migin se chena bi mu bi bigina ba di kasa ni ehun se ni omo na omo so mkutupa asoma omo so mmekasa.
Now you know this susoro Chiramatin suso chitafui yamfia hu ni ene ya si bibi the happy Ghana yetu nanke nim happy FM as we dey say happy Ghana and interview so yakoye nyina kire se MPP dey ya what tradition na MPP tradition no so will be a follow that tradition no enti no aye 98 Kufuor akan say na Akufo-Addo twentwen so na me ena me kro na me machire no won so wobeba ema eye Akufo-Addo twentwen so akosi eye 2007 wono so December 2007 onya ba bi gina ye na eba se wono woye flag bearer ena ono so ba be ka kire eye alanchire ne se alanchire matine ema remfi bibia eye John Kufuor ka kire mi ena me so me ka kire wodwom ha sei John Kufuor kan ne se 1998 Akufo-Addo twan na me nkom na me kom akiri na wo waba enti eno na me so me di gina so aka kire wo alanchire matene se won so twan na won so no me kura makiri no na won so waba eno nti Akufo-Addo kan sa kire matene dia de na conservative traditional true blue MPP dia was set tradition ye adwuma eno nti ye de yesusu se edu alankash pen so ya alankash mra na fe what we get is say no where is that tradition founded on convention or on any stated policy of the party
menyi ni say that dia mo kai no adwuma on silver platter 98 ya okay na me wo chebi na me kira de wo Akwa State Carry Kufuor ka sa kira Akufo-Addo no onne no contest osunyani na ye na anye ya ma Akufo-Addo na Kufuor ko enye so ka sa na o ka se ni mi nya paniko wo hwe 2007 so a menyi ni sa lanchira matin o ti ase ma Akufo-Addo so onko sa akeke onne no contest Edrusen gombe ko second round okra na hwe se de na nyamba city no and or step down in the Megidi say whoever is coming to contest Chiramatin in 2024 no so no menyi ni sa tradition no ba weki on beko contest the party for bekano no on the ayejuma but it is too early say on be contest na say time on focus on their mandate Ghana for their mawo na say a brand na party constitution chile say omutimi e sha say contest no mo aba na Ghana for ahwe de ombe ya mawo.
Now in all this, President of the Republic Nana Akufo-Addo, Vice President, any Dr. Bawumia, the Trade Minister nominee, any Alan Matini, or will be play in the boardroom, smoke-filled boardroom. So obetimi aka bibi achi omumi no nyina na.
Yeah, me give this obetimi aka omumi no. So here this situation according to 2008 issue no so back here President Kofo Kachira say obi a opeso custody bia no on farm ministerial position to. We shouldn't forget to say now vice president so contest be. But me say constitutionally no president debate in the vice here. In the one who do the position. The same thing I even say vice no bond the akoso and a minister in the bishop bond. Indeed, the best anything you say, Omanpanino and Umbishia. Now, Umshia, now, especially Alain Martini, Vice President, Abba Bontino, Machita for Becassa.
Yani Dr. Osei Owusu Bonsu, or a former political science lecturer at the Methodist University College, and a air Komo say political chicanery, political machinery, machinations are somewhat apparently impacted on the yet to begin Akufo-Addo-led government. Na taking the shine of be Akufo-Addo, there was what in the second time, and yet home komo baby free any baby aircro, and yayan kakra ya de bay. Enti yake in what way? And as a vice president who a trade minister who obetimi engage in the supporters say munya dia moye no
me give this on supporters ya both no na no enti ebeye den so be ka say o be fro no hia o nyina be me give this through the media say the America say o press conference any amount for kasa o kasa gun from mamu amount for Betty even one anti ekora no a Ghana for nyina be hu say enye onu na o techiri say amount for maye be omoye no it don't do a focus or na mamu a obusu ana ministerial position the amano no or you focus on the oil me give this eno beboa because akoye dasibo sa na se yantehia na ete se akoye obinte di achirebi
yanko aye the next set of groupings no so president enipa bebre na ensama na Akufo-Addo ta kan say buame muntamechi that two words buame ena muntamechi no na oka papa e chire no de we so be kan say ya to ama me boom ena ode es be kan now post so a wo betimi de amen post no esua post no ebetimi asebu nipa just about 5% of nipa etadachi etuman boom ebua no ye adwuma on the ground ema no na odibi amema bi afi one more anya bi no my disgruntled first time you kura no why you be anisa ache so tum say na onye very keen on say wanye reshuffle anisa onya a conservative approach towards reshuffling and inti nipa no bitina baabi omote atena yeto so a emfie na enie enso so enne wa mana sa ma second term no mu bie mu pe no no so wanya moral justification bi say obeye disgruntled afi MP fuei hwe say MPP 137 MPs and one anya chance amba parliament no almost 138 including a former MP Sankrofo ni nyina no omo po obi ama na resurrect omo political ambition a ususu se vice president trade minister why na sankrofo no betimi look up to omo betimi do mani ato se obetimi aboa a resurrect omo political ambition eno nti e de ye mfa ye brenkodi akire na ye wa rehemu se resurrection bi betimi aba.
Yeah, me this too early say mobile political alignment. Because it's you know why we now who could do be a key. Nase brand so say be you on flag bearer no. Nase nipa no akodi na chi no. Anya flag bearer ship mo. Now no wakoye opposition within your own party. Enti no say no obi ano insumisun. Now no omon homode na or resurrecting the political ambition. No yajuma wo form. One transfer no reflected, no one had here. For yeah, uncle yenti Ghana for one to Abama. Now on your correction. Now say NPP for say 2023 ho by bino. Only flag bearer new year. Nothing no. Said what the next time work about the time one. No one na campaign. Because it's no one here, no one got to pet it too.
Aye, net resurrection power. Then so akoya asem foforo kra. Then on the concluding part, tell us more on this. Nipa do bi shase kekan say to make it easier for Vice President Bawumia and 2.5 years into the tenure of Nana Akufo-Addo. Nanka on a stated case of incapacitation. Nanka wajemu ede ama Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia Nejesenka president no nya yi ne running mate ya no ebeye dense party ni then will propose to go to Congress say ye kwa ku change Bawumia would have gotten to grips with being president said eto John Dramani Mahama September 2012 womu ekojina Kumasi Sports Stadium womu de man on that platter na wono so jitu mu etimi gina hono wan ka hwe so etimi kan say it de big wawie sadie we say nkrofo hase keka ne say benefits so de na no akotomu bie. What do you make of analysis we are enipa bi keka ama benefits so kan bie?
Nna mdi ka say e woni mo bu ahwenda. Ya hwe 2012 Nijin Sanso Nenya no 2016. Because of say former President Mahama efa nneɛma no on silver platter. Menyi ni say no mo NDC mu nyina na nka na mo fi say nka on na be am flag bearer. But yakoba na sa no amanfo eka mo kasa bo hye mo yam. In the about 2016 no meji di NDC for no said the omo akra ten bi omo ka say voting a party setting in. Because any penny be one menyi say na anka President Mahama na no person here no flag bearer. But the yakoba no buy nti na so kana no tum. Inti meji di say so mampani dada o mampani oti akonya so esheda ekoye correspondence star nkonkona bi ekofa say ontimi nya adwuma ni dem na o mampani abedi akiri emeto asoa be 2024 no there obetimi anwini but the subsequent election no ekoye say 2016
You ede yene wo edi enkomo edodo ama emu adaho nti wo mo pese tie no susu no wo mo ebetie na wo mo ko finally on a organization at the grassroots level. First they are starting off with the polling station elections, and then they would have their area coordinators, electoral area coordinators, and they would have their constituency elections, and also no one more ababenya regional elections, and some of ababenya national elections. Na efutuo bi ewo ho as they begin to go through this bottom up approach.
Yeah, but you say at the NPP for us or me and say almost expanded or more delegate, the electoral college, almost expanding. Then come between me and got all card bearing members, or more Maconia. Say, or between me at Tuaba, maybe a free polling station, I could see presidential level. Now, after so, we come the post, national party in Yan, almost and so at the bar 2020 election. Almost so many domofua, almost me who democracy, no, I will
Yet was it a year wound to me, a year chairman wound to me, and you was Yako. And you was Yako say, or no, or Babeto, body corporate NDC. It was CSC in a year. I'm an eye attractive. No way would you answer a possible seat me top body corporate entity like the National Democratic Congress.
Maybe maybe political talk maybe because it will be difficult to be beating like I say or top party via the last election and going to do what you crack up. And that's also beating me out of top party in India. Many of wanting power. Immediately a political talk.
I'm here, I'm there. Dr. Osei you do I say any area in Koma when you do a NEAT 100.9 FM. Right. Dr. Osei and it's actual train and Komui with me. I was up here on 050 600 0909 050 600 0909. Evajibre na yetimi akinkan. COVID still to come. Ongoing election petitions still to come. Na yehuni yahuano.
Needs FM.
Efira, me mwachi o Efira. Yes on.
Machi o Efira. Efira mechi awonye so.
Hey, Efira, enfase mamsu. Wati? Eba force search ya me. Mo yem no.
Won so pepe.
Hey, oh, wafi, we dia me pese oni Efira bekon. Efira we dia ye kwa sori abo. Efira de. Mo kwa sori. Ye papa ye. Efira de kasoro ho a. Wati? Ebise se wo ba hwa wa kraba kumpo wunya. Onipa da sene timi koto this way chocolate drink. No ne yire ne ma edi nsuohie twabia nom anopa. No wi a wasade bia hye fridge mu. Wo mako school pon a wasan ba be yia nom. Enu mpore se ne nka ne twaso mu pa ende ye rekore. Ne fie wura beti ha. Anopa dio, ewia dio, enumre dia mo no makoda o. Mo mame. Na mu wi a ma sora akotra so ndem se ye kosum ya.
Bese na dia ya late nso me yanke kabinje Efira ye wi a yakosere body fache. Ke Efira wuti fia se light bill no water bill ba wuntua bi. Wo boa se sika na fa koto this way chocolate drink na ba nom.
Hwe me catch you play na play fa. Say this way chocolate drink no. Metumi ato bi pa na so na me so mo ahwe wate. E de me hia ne nsuohie. Na nsuohie so me ntoi. Se me bufu a betumi ato bag mu a wate. Yeah, Efira we nko ade ma abunfu.
Efira fi de ya bre ma abunfu bi.
Munyam sumponie. Munyam sumponie. Na mo ba ya trimodefo.
FDA anhwe se adwede nkratoe mo agye atum se eye.
But dear Beckway did na Beckway in fact, and ne dear Ditchum. Adwaka no kure. Ebusuafo de bi dia ba afre kurasa ba pa beka no kuraka.
Da bi o. Yenya hoho bia wo fia ha.
What? Fi say na bekwa no hwe ni ne sane a ne de ne sane a chirhwam site no a. Ete se kurasa ba no a awo besra no wotade ba ne bi.
Oh, ene ne de wati. Neat palm nut extract na me dia bo abenkwan sa.
Neat palm nut extract.
Ane abefefe de dirty apa woka wasemi. Eno bi na neat foods o ma chia gu chansi mu. Enti se dia mensa brekora wa benwo. Na fe na me ko sai brakọ no abewoja so enko wo nkochi mefe ne nwa ho ena me dia ya benkwan ani steam.
Oh, na said neat foods e dia bekwan abade a ena no ato manfo bre so.
E bre do matimi so pa fi say abenkwan we ne ye giadaje. Enti se wonya neat palm nut extract a wo mre kora. E say ababri so ena ode aye. Na nam kitua bi mpo a wo banu nkwan atafre won sa. Neat palm extract anase neat abenkwan. Ne e de ne say emu ohwam te say abenkwan ye nim dadada no a. Ana so bie so nya dio. Wodo sa so mu hu na wabie so wo mra kra.
Need palm nut extract. Oh, come on. Now, only baby. What dear sound come with powder? I wouldn't need palm be a bear back on the slow media. Will be able to pumwa. What's me? Oh, what's so? May I part this and be yo, and your mom for Mupe and will be uncle supermarket. And the jump
FDA, I just said, you didn't crack to more jet to say, yeah.
Cool, fresh and trendy with a new look. Makes you feel real good, that refreshing vibe. Satisfies you right just the way you like. Do you know? Do you know? Do you know? Ain't gotta do it alone. Specialized makes you glow. Anytime. Natural mineral water. Feel different. Think special. This advertisement has been vetted and approved by the FDA. Needs FM.
Efira, me watch you, Efira. Yes, song. Yes, song.
Machi o Efira. Efira me chia wonye so.
Hey, Efira, enfase ma msu. Wati? E ba force search ya me. Mo yam no.
Won so pepe.
Hey, oh, wafi, we dia me pesa oni Efira bekon. Eh, Efira we dia ye kwa sori abo. Efira. Mo kwa sori. Ye papa ye. Efira ka soro ho a. Wati? E be se wo ba hwa wa kraba kumpo wunya. Onipa da sane timi koto this way chocolate drink. No ne yire ne mma edi nsuo hia twabia nom anopa. No wi a wasade bia hye fridge mu. Wo mako school pon a wasan ba be yia nom. Enu mpore se ne nka ne twaso mu pa ende ye rekore. Ne fie wura beti ha. Anopa dio, ewia dio, enumre dia mo no makodeo. Mo mame. Na mu wi a ma sora akotra so ndem se ye kosum ya.
Bese na dia ya late nso me yanke kabinje Efira ye wi a yakosere bɔ fate. Ke Efira Ruti fia say light bill no water bill ba wuntua bi. Wo asa sika na fa koto this way chocolate drink. Na ba nom.
Ta hwe me catch you play fa. Say this way chocolate drink no. Metumi ato bi pa na so na me so mo ahwe wate. E de me hia ne nsuohie. Na nsuohie so me ntoi. Say me bufu a betumi ato bag mu a wate. Yeah, Efira we nko ade ma abunfu. Me koto me.
Efira fi de ya bre ma abunfu bi.
Munyam sumponie. Munyam sumponie. Na mo ba ya trimodefo.
FDA I just said you didn't crack to more jet to say, yeah.
What? But dear Beckway did na Beckway in fact, and ne dear Ditchum. Adwaka no kure. Ebusrafo de bi dia ba afra kurasa ba pa beka no kuraka.
Da bi o. Yenya hoho bia wo fia ha.
What? Fise ena bekwa no hwe ni ne sane ne de ne sane chirhwam site no a. Ete se kurasa ba no a awo besra no wotade ba no bi.
Oh, ene ne de wati. Neat palm nut extract ena me dia bo abenkwan sa.
Neat palm nut extract.
Ane abefefe de dirty apa woka wasemi. Eno bi na neat foods o ma chia gu chansi mu. Enti se dia mensa brekora wa benwo. Na fe na me ko sai brakọ no abewo jaso enko wo nko chi mefe ne nwa ho ena me dia ya benkwan ani steam.
Oh, na said neat foods e dia bekwan abade a ena no ato manfo bre so.
E bre do matimi so pa fi say abenkwan we ne ye giadaje. Enti se wonya neat palm nut extract a wo mre kora. E say ababri so ena ode aye. Na nam kitua bi mpo a wo ba no nkwan atafre won sa. Neat palm extract anase neat abenkwan. Ne e dia ne say emu ohwam te say abenkwan ye nim dadaada no a. Ana so bie so nya dio. Wodo sa so mu who no wa be so wo mra kra.
Neat palm nut extract. Oh, come on. Na oni bibi. What dear sound come we powder would neat palm no be ya be kwan mesro me didia. Wo bia bo punu a wosum ni ho.
Oh, wa so.
Me am part this am bia.
Yo, oni amanfo amope bia no bia nko supermarket. Any jom
FDA I just said you didn't crack to more jet to say, yeah.
Cool, fresh and trendy with a new look. Makes you feel real good, that refreshing vibe. Satisfies you right just the way you like. Do you know? Do you know? Do you know? this natural mineral water. Feel different. Think special. This advertisement has been vetted and approved by the FDA.
Needs FM.
Needs 100.9 FM. So any na ene Friday, February 5, 2021. And time just about gone 80 minutes past 2. Na ongoing Supreme Court processes up to ene. Dear na ekoba say witnesses mienu and NDC for free woman aba bigina de kamiami discharge omo and I necessary some the third person ebeba the third person also or remote area na yene kasa ye understanding of the akoswa up to this level ye na qualified and practicing lawyer Morrison Ampao yene no entwe enkomo kakra law yamwa ho now what you saying? That's it. Your impressions of the proceedings from day one up to today. Anything?
I think that from day one to today, no. So far, so good. We got the perfect. I think there were challenges and the relationship between the bench and the bar as a lawyer. And lawyers know they were more related to the bench. I think Chachu, some of the attitude and conduct and the push at the court, no. Apart from, I think I improve because now Oshes to make an open court say there be questions here irrelevant. And normally, no, who determines relevancy, no, it's not you, the lawyer, because every lawyer be no, which the way, but the determination of every issuer, internet service, you be of an application for directions. The issues are raised by our court, no, you argue it. It is the judge who makes determination. So if the judge who is going to make a determination want to clear the mind on issues via a bodano. Now, to make it informed and teaching based on the law and evidence and the conscience. Now, of the question to clear the mind. Now, to the judge and say questions now beside now. That's what it means. Irrelevant question here. Question here. It was an insult not only to that judge, but to all the judges. Because what it means is that those judges know, besides science, and now irrelevant questions no. They also sat down. So but and they say no. I think some colleagues and now we share the kind of general comments by and we are conducting themselves very well. And you could see say no, there's that mutual respect bench the chachu and chachu and then so making the point at the point in time no. You could see say now in fact human be by and they say can I say come to court officials and so I share no pay more in terms of Ghanaian and I'm say when I was the common so bribe all these things no and my atmosphere say ya simply as in free and in talk gonna know you know let petition Bible can say maybe I want to hear but the impressions you make on the judges and then the how people also perceive everlasting. Can you say when you offend one judge, you offend many. And maybe I'm say we are lawyer near. Some judges when you offend them when you be out for some child for the rest of your life no. Any time you appear before one share the discretion unya the favor. And when so many say court about 80% of the cases there you didn't know. The judgments are always based on discretion because court is human and your mass and your 1 + 1 and the will be himself but can two. But court the human argument, more of persuasion, more of OAG
the court to look at your view. It's more of demonstrating ability to convince. And the judge has so many options. It's like essay, judge, was the man, or between more high marks, or the master, or to be crowded or right to cut 2 marks, or to be the count cost of 2 marks. So I just make that, into the 2 review, who say the court say, the law say, the court may, and if it is necessary, all are discretionary. And you realize that most of the discretions, if we antagonize the court and now show the suspector, when it comes for them also to exercise discretion, they will exercise it against you. It is so far so good. And then proceedings now are very educative, very, very encouraging, and I think we are learning a lot.
Now, Obibebusa say, how much can a judge intervene in cross-examination before one could begin to think a trial has become unfair? Intervention, how much of it could the judge do?
Judges, one of their primary duties is to ensure, yes, static trial now, they manage the trial, they moderate the trial, because wouldn't be Ujama lawyers, they are already in the arena of boxing each other. In fact, lawyers, what you say, footballer, and a boxer, almost as if true blues. And also every rule, every I can't say piano, there are rules. Football, you were outside the room, you were foul, you were infringement, you were able to be there. Who portrayed it is the judge, is a referee. It's a referee who so you don't take undue advantage of the other, each other, share offside goal. The same when it comes to boxing, there are areas you can punch the other goal. It is the judge's duty to ensure that in the course of the trial, evidence, they ensure that the parties and the witnesses stay within the rules. For example, say evidence is not part of pleadings, meaning the court now. The judge have to say that why you're offside and now will be boxing below the belt. For example, when be about court, when we court, say na you be found say I did not jano, who say a person, who can who please would say, oh, be jammy, make one of the jammy. Yako quarter, if it be who come out as a who the Jamabo, say, who will be or the neighbor court, nobody dance to say, well, you can put away. The rules of the game will stop you from leading that evidence because a man is who be ma, or you not surprise. So, only him say, a Jamambo, 18 now, the Jana, Kasa, Shemin, jai because of a Jamambo. Now, me to say no say, on the assembly, what possibility thing, or the assembly, or you just back water. The difference, or better matter as we see now, body dinosaur, or better get about million, that they don't back to so, and to become one of you. Not case I say, Tisana, rules later, and the person, the judges are there to also ensure fair. More be and harass you be, and now be intimidated to be. That's why comes to collaboration. Only now, or your bully, or be teaching no client, or maybe some questions are any relevant. And now, go beyond the rules, the issues. And once a woman who can be beyond cross examination is at large. Meaning, why she, for example, we were only one some, no one seeing good to Antama, who could be sound them. Even say, let's assume they say, Mama Jane, Mensa, a witness box room. Let's just start it. Mama Jane, Mama, and now, one match now, Ukruwe. In fact, a letter commission to Manom, you and then sexual life, but if you meet a lawyer or a person embarrassed, we will try to say, oh, maybe so because we say, who you couldn't and out me that question, what I said, no, is below the belt. It's unfair, it's an embarrassing question, and then so they will not allow you. And if you say, who cross examine, now you will say, who cross examine, now we are chat. Because it will be couple, say, my friend, I'm out 30 minutes. Because we be the case in here, we to back close down the whole year. And I know who said the judges are not there just because the people no quit, normal follow harms. Now Moshe, they ask, they try to moderate the trial, and at the same time, they have what it takes to ask questions. But the two be na mumbinu amokono, munyana muntidi nti amokono, ekuna ya mode. But no, it was mina muntu base. Na apuna mokono, mo kwa go beyond certain point because as some mode buy no. As some into the moment you can't no, na munjai. Kai no say you will be wa. What need it? No, she no to be wa. No, the unnecessary things back. No, your personal attack. No, release other issues. You have to be here. It is just the way to say. Ekuna mokono. We stay within. We lay. Yes, narrow the issues. The issues before the court are what? Into one examination. And then it's about the issues. So that's why judges normally come in at times when the things they are and the trial is going beyond bounds. And now the two people who are arguing, are arguing outside the issues. And now questions be why it take you by surprise. They bring some sanity and then try to moderate the rules and then try so that there will be fair hearing.
And fair hearing. Trying to work against procedural unfairness. Say a day and say obiti se chachu. Uhunu yentia obe comment say ye harasse aye ne client and aye ne nipa ujina dekem. A day no be huntia obeka say a question from the judge irrelevant. At the end of the if we have to guard against procedural unfairness.
I think, sir, what Chachu realizes, say, you have to say, not a do the client to so. And you look as if all the judges in the were throwing questions at the client. Into when over some more penasem, over some more time, over some of the questions were so hard. Saying, no matter what lawyers do is you come in the defense and the aid of your client, but you must choose your words very carefully. That's what you do. The rule of the game is that normally it's better to throw jabs. It's better to raise objections. It's a strategy to make sure that your client don't do a cohesive and concurrent cohesive and then nice story. Because a storytelling, who my evidence are, who can story. It is a good lawyer. What you do is that objection and my dismantle the good story. Into when you are or understand the issues are the bufupa no scripture so and now the bufupa story no can to be can and now will reduce the confidence level of your opponent. Into Chachu thought say the questions that the judges were asking were exposing the client too much because you bizarre near bizarre the same thing. Who didn't say only calculations, I didn't know why. And now it been say, say who say, for instance, what can I say, Coco, need Mama, and call your conference, I don't know, guy, wouldn't say with the show. Chachu thought that those questions, were not only harassing, but is exposing, but it should have used words, legal words, harassment legal. You see, my lord, maybe the questions are is not fair. I like the word fair. Fairness, it was more decency tone than irrelevant. My lord, the questions you asked my client were not fair. You could say questions now beside my client, I also be extra no fat for exams. Now you miss a question. Now what is it? You don't tell a judge, even by our training, when you start agree with the judge, won't be catch us say, my lord, what bomb? I also teach our child here. Now and a pastor will preach it. Now pastor no start here now John 3:16. Now John 3:16 Bible say John no now oh yeah church member now to who's a pastor John 3:16 no and yes I know why you need to know also, Pastor, I'm saying quotation now, quoting, I'm saying that me too Bible quote, but me sure we know. I'm saying that we need power verse no, but verse near. But who could you say, hey, Pastor, one bomb, papa, now who go Bible school way? Is it fair? And there is a way most of the times the court judges 18. In fact, there are some judges who do one law now or defended there are many law only. Judge be also na 77 as I didn't know only because the judge be on my dear. We can't look at it. There will be our bench, but I can't look at that. And every profession be there. None of this are more. I know they are not that. Vanity, police suppose are, menka, they depend upon judge be a concacra. Now, who committed a judge? Not 77 or TABA, district court be will function court. Now we are not practicing for so many years. 9 years, 20 years, 30 years at the bar. Okoya, judge, or no problem, or a career magistrate, which is on your order, but the critique magistrate. Na otio na otum say the law ka into courtroom law otio law so apply in the presence of the witnesses and then parties in court and then everybody know. You should not stand up and say, my lord, what boom papa na the judge. You don't do that. Also, say, my lord, I think I disagree with you on this issue. No, my lord, I think that I have alternative view about this position, and I would like to aid the court by either producing other legal authorities for your consideration. My lord, if I can see you and supply you with some of the authorities, that will help you. Media, that is when you be that one, no, get in the piano. So we hear, or better when you say, Jensi, lawyer, Obuadio, it won't say after court, no flat tech, no, catching an empire, some brown. Oba, now you call Jimmy, go say, Maya, it's why it is you with the whole body in your authority paying our car. We tell us, I mean, now with the young worker, the one, and next time you say, no one that was it. What I say, why you can do for down for? But go to court of court, my lord, one bone crown, now, better to say, or a judge. One bone property to say, me boom, boniano, me ruin issue, and rig issue, what appeal. Was soon to be by the court everything about them. And I mean, say, me after one, but this time, whatever, there's a self, I got on that cell. What do you hear? And I mean, make it you'll be sorted, is to walk out of the courtroom. Now, because what are the courtroom? Maybe you challenge me. Also, contempt of court. When I gave order, leave my court. Can you say the court is not for the lawyers? That courtroom is for the Supreme Court judges. What about judgment? And that place belongs to them. So any lawyer who misbehaves, you leave. Me, my open court. Yama order. Lawyer free. So okay, lawyer must do. I'm saying, okay, case be more judge or baby, you never be wrong. And that all your argument, like judge can say, lawyer free, please sit down. Now, Ocean enemy. Now, judge can say, please, why you argument classy? I say, my lord, who to me or that me say me sit down because the client keeps sharing the catch me in the case. My judge say, oh, so you not sit down? Say yes. Oh man, not say I cite you for contempt. Police. If the police follow word, I will say, take this lawyer and put him in the cell. Maybe I need to, no sales room. Maybe I will declare or the access for 3 hours. And my lawyers will flow at in the Coco 2 days. Your pledge, your judgment, Emma, Mustafa, AP. Into the Icelanders are where judges can sentence you based on the honor.
Yo. Nti ye ken so no. Quite unfortunate. Morris Ampao. Yan se betimi anya no for the last round of questions no. Na ugusu tie neat 100.9 FM na ene Friday February 5, 2021. And the time just about gone 38 minutes past 2. Na yididi ya hunkobo earlier on. Na political machinations in the MPP. Ya can some kakra, possibly affecting the government. Ya can some kakra. And say ya can pusher of characters at the Supreme Court. And so yani lawyer ampa we can some still to come. Ya beka COVID and so say ebibidro no yebenya gidie bi mpo ewo mu na afin so no vaccine say match na ebeba na ahwe yie no etesan obia ehwe no ho yie ne nyina no gusunity neat 100.9 FM betimi so I was up here on 0506000909 0506000909 na yɛhwɛ na yɛntimi ɛni nkɔmmɔ no
Oha FRIMPONG Needs FM.
Efiura, me mwachi o Efiura. Yes on.
Machi o Efiura. Efiura mechi awon yeso.
Hey, Ewura, enfase ma msu. Wati? E ba force search ya me. Mo yem no.
Won so pepe.
Hey, oh, wafi, we die me pese oni Efiura bekon. Efiura we die ye kwa sori abo. Ewura de. Mo kwa sori. Ye papa ye. Ewura de kasoro ho a. Wati? E be se wo ba hwa wa kraba kumpo wunya. Onipa da sane timi koto this way chocolate drink. No ne yire ne mma edi nsuohie twabia nom anopa. No wi a wasade bia hye fridge mu. Wo mako school pon a wasan ba be yi anom. Enu mpo se ne nka ne twahye mu pa ende ye rekore. Ne fie wura beti ha. Anopa dio, ewia dio, enumre dia mo no makoda o. Mo mame. Na mu wi a ma sora akotra so ndem se ye kosum ya.
Bese na dia ya late nso me yanke kabinchi Efiura ye wi a yakosere bo fa che. Efiura Ruti fia say light bill no water bill ba wuntua bi. Wo sa sika na fa koto this way chocolate drink. Na ba nom.
Hwe me catch you play fa. Say this way chocolate drink no. Metumi ato bi pa na so na me so mo ahwe wate. E de me hia ne nsuohie. Na nsuohie so me ntoi. Say me bu fu a betumi ato bag mu a wate. Yeah, Efiura we nko ade ma abunfu. Me koto me.
Efiura fi de ya bre ma abunfu bi.
Munyam sumponie. Munyam sumponie. Na mo ba ya trimodefo
FDA anhwe se adwodie nkratoe mo agye atom se eye
what but dia be kwan die di na be kwan die in fact ene die di twam adwaka no kure ebusuafo de bi dia be afra kura sa be pa be ka no kura ka
da bi o yenya hoho bi ya wo fia ha
what fi se ena be kwan no hwe ni ne se ne ene de ne se ne chirhwam site no a ete se kura sa be no a awo besra no wata de be no bi
oh ene ne de wati neat palm nut extract ena me dia bo abenkwan sa
neat palm nut extract
ane abefefe de dirty apa awoka wasemi eno bi na neat foods o ma chia gu chansi mu enti se dia mensa brekora wa benwo na fe na me ko sai brakọ no abewo jaso enko wo nko chi mefe ne nwa ho ena me dia ya benkwan ani stew
oh na se neat foods e dia bekwan abade a ena no ato manfo bre so
e bre do matimi so pa fi say abenkwan we ne ye giadaje enti se wonya neat palm nut extract a wo mre kora e say ababri so ena ode aye na nam ketewa bi mpo a wo banu nkwan atafre won sa neat palm extract anase neat abenkwan ne e de ne say emu ohwam te say abenkwan ye nim dadaada no a ana so bie so nya dio wodo sa so mu hu na wabie so wo mre kora
neat palm nut extract oh come on na oni bibi what dia san kwan we pada wo di neat palm no bia be ya be kwan mesro mi didi a obi abopuru mu a wusum ni ho
oh wa so
me am padi disem bia
yo oni amanfo amope bia no bia nko supermarket ani jom
FDA anhwe se adwodie nkratoe mo agye atom se eye
Cool, fresh and trendy with a new look. Makes you feel real good, that refreshing vibe. Satisfies you right just the way you like. Do you know? Do you know? Do you know? Ain't gotta do it alone. Specialized makes you glow. Anytime. Specialized feel different. Always think water. Feel different. Think special. This advertisement has been vetted and approved by the FDA.
Utie Oha Exi Ponkno. Needs FM.
Neat 100.9 FM Suni. Now, and Friday, February 5, 2021. Time just about approaching 17 minutes to 3. On the phone now, Alpha Kobina Kennedy MD. Na yenini bitin komo kakra de afa COVID. You would agree. Say last week na yenino edi nkomo. Na always issues of say ye nyina betimi anya convergence bi say ye pushing for greater works on the COVID because the COVID is so real and it's so devastating. Say yeah, the nomadi agra ebeje and semu and more especially about non-availability of a vaccine. Since then, and the President of the Republic, as also akasa nano kwesiada. Intiene yanko na yemusa Alpha Kobina Kennedy MD. What your president na does he see any noticeable change in approach, concrete effort we and a wahunana. Dr. Kobina Kennedy Yamwaha. Yo. Since the CNO Kasa, subsequently President of the Republic, Akasa on the 23rd occasion last Sunday. Now, did you hear anything new? And do you notice any concrete change of plan?
Well, I mean, without saying so, the president or did to there a COVID effort, yes, you move to Kaka. Nankasa, okay, things like isolation and social distancing, simply, he wouldn't admit that there was any shortcoming, but he was promising to do better. And that is good. Now, to obey that, or not to that, things are making them I don't think he doesn't mean well. I'm sure he means well. I think it's concerned. But from living here and watching COVID, I think public pressure matters a lot, even to good government. And I think the public didn't just take it up there. The president has spoken, so he will do it. For example, Parliament is the main, and to their credit, I've read out to some of them, they are very positive, just like you were and some media people were. And the speaker or ancestors that they should set. But in addition to taking care of any business, the speaker should take care of Ghanaians in the sense that over there, Mama President, for example, testing. How many testings are we sent? How much contact tracing are we doing? What are we doing about isolation? So I think if the speaker will translate his interest into that. It's not that you are opposing the president. I mean, there you are encouraging him and his government to do better. And where's the mark for you?
Now, saying na ube process data President of the Republic editor the hitherto in the first wave we were doing 200 new cases per day, and now we are doing averagely 700, 800 cases per day.
Oh, the way I would take that in the, to be fair, it just gets to the point that I've always thought that our effort has been more lucky than good. And for example, if the whole of Africa, the US alone has tested about 380 million. We've done 380 million tests. Africa, we've done only 30 million. In other words, we are 4 times their population, but we've done 10 times more tests than we've done. Ghana, we've done only about 700,000. And you know, the tests are in. It is not enough for us to be able to pick up all those who have the disease. I mean, this is just
fact. It doesn't mean that everybody. We are not doing politics. We need to do more, and it looks like the president was, what do they call it, acknowledging that.
Now we need to do more especially when he goes and say Emma police Emma Chelsea won't nose mask. And that by they say referring to us to be responsible and civil in ourselves. Say you be the need to wear the nose mask. That punchline, how did you see it?
It is good, but the truth of the matter is that by the nature of people, unless it is enforced, so we need to enforce it, but that will be there. Be as the one, as the noble corporation, and all those things. Everybody knows that those things are not realistic. Let's find them and more to the point. Let's help those who cannot get much, get them.
Now, Dr. Ataknedi, assign a council say by March we would expect the first vaccine, the best of the lot, to come to Ghana, and subsequently we are told say over 2 million of such vaccine will be available first second week of March. What do you make of it?
What I make of it is that let me step back a little bit and tell everybody about the vaccine. Vaccines, let me begin from Africa. Ramaphosa said a few days ago, he is the chair of the EU. Also, all of Africa, they expect 1 billion doses of the vaccine. So if 1 billion doses, if the vaccine 500 million people, 1 billion doses, 700 million will come from the ADAKABRI into COVAX facility to Africa. And the EU tax force will get 300 million. Africa has 1.3 billion. Even if we got the 1 billion doses by the end of the year, as we have been promised that, it means that we can only vaccinate 500 million people. And see, those will not be enough. But more to the point, you need to look at the fine print. Okay, there, vaccines by the end of 2021. That is 11 months away, assuming it comes as a school. Obodu is a better vaccine. And yesterday, in a report, the Wall Street Journal said that they think all of the world, by the end of 2021, only 10% of people will get the vaccine. By the end of 2022, only 21% of people will get the vaccine. In other words, regardless of the strength of the vaccine, looking at the combination of whether the vaccines are available and the logistics of giving it, we are not going to get significant numbers of the vaccine for quite some time. Now, let me talk about the president. He said that Ghana has secured 16.7 million doses, if I remember. And he said that 16.7 million will be there about by June, and the first batch will come in March. All that is encouraging, but let's take him at his word. 16.7 million will vaccinate about 8.8 million people. And there are 30 million Ghanaians. And even if you assume that that will not be enough, then he also went on to say that he hopes to vaccinate all Ghanaians. And I thought that that was an overpromise, because if you look at the specialists, epidemiologists are telling us that in order to get herd immunity, you need to vaccinate 70% of your population. And if a Ghana for 70% would be 21 million, which means in that case, we don't need to vaccinate anybody, but we need 42 million doses of the vaccine. It can't be mean, I'm not that ADAKABRI, baby said the crack running.
You crack then.
Only there, the vaccines will not come in enough numbers and in enough time to make a difference, even though ultimately the vaccines are the definitive answer. It means Africa through contact isolation and contact tracing, help people to isolate, encourage people to do social distancing. And NCC should, with respect, set up their butts and do more public education.
Dr. ADAKABRI Kennedy, we are allopathic practitioner, but who can say we may need, say, 42 million, now President Suka says 16 million. Like I said, there's a gap, as you've indicated. Do you foresee any complementary support? You bet me any free traditional herbal medicine practitioners or Ghana now?
I don't foresee that now, but I'm a scientist, so I have an open mind. It is if somebody says there is a herb that works, I think regardless of where the medicine comes from, we need to be sure that it is safe and we need to be sure that it's effective. And if it meets those two requirements, we should take it. But I don't get all these conspiracy theories now from people if it is good, it's good. Let's use objective scientific standards. We ride in aeroplanes to the standards of all the world. We wear clothes to the standards of all the world. We dress the same way. If it is medicine, we also deserve the best, regardless of where it comes from. So as far as the vaccines are concerned, we should only use ones approved by the WHO, and I take that approach to all therapies in respect to COVID.
In the time I would say the Food and Drugs Authority, or more approval for a clinical trial stage 2, a herbal product, and as a herbal concoction, Ghana. What did you make of it?
I thought it was encouraging, but as far as I'm concerned, there are a lot of trials going on around the world of many medicines. So I want to see proven therapies. I think that trials at this stage, they are useful. For example, the Johnson & Johnson vaccine is very good because it's one dose. But until it gets to Africa, it's just pure.
To the extent the time I cast a clinical trial, and now you move beyond TSA, and then we became excited because a product now, and now say a concoction now one more can Nibima, the scientific name there, I do not enjoy attempting to pronounce it. And Nibima no now just ya approval for fever anyway. Now ye can say no, and ya approval for clinical trial stage 2 no. Now and California Jehoma 1 year or my boom. Because he said in the US for ever clarify, yes, it is only for a trial, but not for a product authorization being on Monsaka.
Yeah, so we should be careful what information we put out to the public, because the public is not sophisticated. They misinterpret things. At the end of the day, there are a lot of medicines being tested, hydroxychloroquine, remember, ivermectin, all those kind of things. But we should give to the public only what we know to be safe and effective.
Before you go, still on COVID, ADAKABRI Kennedy, MD, a hydrogen peroxide story, no what?
Martin, and I know Professor Aite very well. He was my teacher. And actually, I use hydrogen peroxide to wash my mouth every day. So I think it is encouraging, but I agree with him that at the end of the day, the best way to do it is for the pharmaceutical companies to formulate a nasal spray of it, or a nasal ring. But this getting the public to mix things themselves. My son is a chemistry major, and he tells me that even they themselves have some difficulty mixing solutions. So we shouldn't leave people mixing solutions.
So professionals have challenges mixing these. Now, as you hear, Dr. Youngson, General Secretary of the Ghana Medical Association, admit this morning on Ghana Muntie Ewo NIT 100.9 FM. Or say Abushafo Bikurano, I'm mixing the more or manum. Now, hydrogen peroxide, no, yanum akuyayam.
That is not what is recommended, but since we use it to wash our mouths, I'm sure that kakrako it will not be good, it will not be that bad. But Dr. Jansen has a point that we should not leave lay people to be doing the work that chemists and pharmacists should be doing.
Advent of COVID now ubia free say taking their lives into their own hands. Now share a abuse of prescription at the pharmacy. What do you want to say about abuse of prescription our pharmacy?
It is bad, and actually that is not just being done by lay people. I've seen a lot of physicians trying to treat themselves with all kind of mixed Western medicines as well as traditional medicines. I think we should respect experts and let them do their job because they have training, they understand safety. They don't just listen to your friends and start taking anything. Reach out to your doctor because even we, the doctors, are struggling to make sense of some of this. So don't treat yourself.
And then how do we then form networks amongst professionals to the extent that ancestor a ferry say you reach out to another professional on a network to find out more or a better appreciation of your understanding of say treatment be management of a case be than say ubeji bibi ata when you say and you may get it wrong.
ADAKABRI, it is fundamental to being a good doctor that you are humble enough to ask other people for things. I call my friends who are Yale University and New York and other things about things all the time. There is no shame about asking people to help you because it is about doing the best for the patient. When actually Ghana, I respect a lot of the people who train me there, but I think one of our shortcomings is the reluctance to ask for help. We should always never be shy to ask other people for help. I remember then when I was in training, even as a first year, my professors, if for example something about Africa came about malaria and that, they were not shy about asking me what my experience was.
In a course of say hydrogen peroxide no what can be na escape me kakra but going back to my notes and me free say my memu saw nature mu ye say it's about time hydrogen peroxide no pharmaceutical companies ebeye nasal spray okay ye no nipa do say na nasal spray obi onman e dey na person okay see enya say nasal spray no
for nasal rinsing and spray because the type it doesn't get to the back of the nose the way it's supposed to. So if you spray it, it will be better. And the best thing to do before a pharmaceutical to mix it in the right proportion and do it in the right formulation so that people will spray it consistent with safety and efficacy.
Say would huru onum kura na e wo say timi kɔ ohwene na chiri honom na say no ma bi butubutu wa atimi akɔ hohoro ho nyina.
That is correct.
Right. Okay. Now, finally on this COVID bit, have you seen enough effort on the side of government? And I would you still want to say we should improve upon ourselves?
We should improve. I've said it earlier that I don't believe in talk. I want, for example, to see that as a result of the president's speech, our testing has gone up, let's say 15% or 20%. That contact tracing has maybe gone up by 30-50%. That the government has committed this number of resources to helping people to isolate. Those kind of things, and that, for example, the vaccines they announced, they are working on getting them. As a lady friend of mine used to say, "Dog, talk is cheap."
You know we on this COVID bit, but you have a great appreciation of political events and have been a presidential aspirant on your own. belonging to the Center of the Right Political Party, MPP, Ghana, Hasi. Now, a President of the Republic, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, having won this time round, his challenger, John Dramani Mahama, petitioned the Supreme Court, which is ongoing. Now, whilst that is ongoing, Afempo and Nana Akufo-Addo, waiting a year, the ministers are waiting to go through a year parliamentary vetting and subsequent approval, if any. So I shall say, and Alan Bawumia Alan. What do you make of such machinations?
ADAKABRI, that's a long conversation, and like I am in the middle of seeing patients. The only thing I would say is about the Supreme Court case. Everybody who is an MPP member, you remember how we felt in 2013. We should not be impatient. We should let the NDC people get their redress in court. The court will rule on it, then we can move on. The same way we felt, it should inform the sympathy we feel. I think that our Supreme Court cases about elections should be refined so that these cases are resolved before the swearing. But on the other point, I think we should make it another day. So I need to go see my patient.
Okay, I will arrange with you at another day. But for now, we are so grateful for spending 25 minutes of your time with us. Dr. Arthur Kennedy, right. And Kwabena Kennedy, MD, and Oteneno. Now go to it 100.9 FM. We've talked about political machinations. We've talked about a Supreme Court hearing ongoing. And then now you've heard about COVID and so. Still to come. It may be a phone line also the amount. Now so to me akasa. Now watch the wagering.
Needs FM.
Efira, me watch you, Efira. Yes, on.
Machi Efira. Efira me chia wonye so.
Hey, Efira, enfase mamsu. Wati? E ba force set ya me. Mo yem no.
Won so pepe.
Hey, oh, wafi, we dia me pese oni Efira bekon. Efira we dia ye kwa sore abo. Efira Momo kwa sore. Ye papa ye. Efira ka soro ho a. Wati? E be se wo ba hwa wa kraba kumpo wunya. Onipa da sene timi koto this way chocolate drink. No ne yire ne ma edi nsuohie twabia nom anopa. No wi a wasade bia hye fridge mu. Wo mako school pon a wasan ba be yia nom. Enu mpore se ne nka ne twaso mu pa ende ye rekore. Ne fie wura beti ha. Anopa dio, ewia dio, enumre dia mo no makoda o. Mo mame. Na mu wi a ma sora akotra so ndem se ye kosum ya.
Mesi na dia ya late nso me yanke kabinje Efira ye wi a yakosere body fa che. Efira Wuti fia say light bill no water bill ba wuntua bi. Wo boa say sika na fa koto this way chocolate drink. Na ba nom.
Hwe me catch you play na play fa. Say this way chocolate drink no. Metumi ato bi pa na so na me so mo ahwe wate. E de me hia ne nsuohie. Na nsuohie so me ntoi. Say me bufu a betumi ato bag mu a wate. Yeah, Efira we nko ade ma abunfu.
Na koto me. Efira fi de ya bre ma abunfu bi.
Munyam sumponie. Munyam sumponie.
FDA anhwɛ sɛ adwadie nkratoe mu agye atom sɛ ɛyɛ.
What? But dear Beckway did na Beckway in fact, and ne dear Ditchum. Adwaka no kure. Ebusuafo de bi dia ba afre kurasa ba pa beka no kuraka.
Da bi o. Yenya hoho bia wo fia ha.
What? Fi se ena bekwa no hwe ni ne se ne ne de ne se ne chirhwam site no a. Ete se kurasa ba no a awo besra no wotade ba no bi.
Oh, ene ne de wati. Neat palm nut extract ena me dia bo abenkwan sa.
Neat palm nut extract.
Ane abefefe de dirty apa awoka wasemi. Eno bi na neat foods o ma chia gu chansi mu. Enti se dia mensa brekora wa benwo. Na fe na me ko sai brakwa no abewoja so enko wo nkochi mefe ne nwa ho ena me dia ya benkwan ani steam.
Oh, na se neat foods e dia bekwan abade a ena no ato manfo bre so.
E bre do matimi so pa fi say abenkwan we ne ye giadaje. Enti se wonya neat palm nut extract a wo mre kora. E say ADAKABRI so ena ode aye. Na nam ketua bi mpo a wo banu nkwan atafre won sa. Neat palm extract anase neat abenkwan. Ne e de ne say emu ohwam te say abenkwan ye nim dadaada no a. Ana so bie so nya dio. Wodo sa so mu hu na wabie so wo mra kra.
Need palm nut extract. Oh, come on. Now, only baby. What dear sound come with powder? I wouldn't need palm to be a bear back on the slow midi dear. Will be able to pumwa. What's me? Oh, what's so? May I am part of this?
Yo, and your mom for a mope be and will be uncle supermarket. And the jump
FDA, I just said, Jodian Cratu, Moja to say, yeah.
What's cool, fresh and trendy with a new look? Makes you feel real good, that refreshing vibe. Satisfies you right just the way you like. Do you know? Do you know? Do you know? Ain't gotta do it alone. Specialized makes you glow. Anytime, anywhere. Specialized feel different. Always think specialized. Special Ice Natural Mineral Water. Feel different. Think special. This advertisement has been vetted and approved by the FDA. Needs FM.
Neat 100.9 FM so any na a Friday February 5 2021 and time just about gone 9 minutes past 3 na sabri proceedings at the Supreme Court womu amayemu judges na amayemu so as it has become a ritual where parties to the case womu ebigina ho ebe address omanma de akoso se disibai enti omu ready so mo bekasa ye be join womu na briefing no yeso yetimi ahwe ama briefing no etimi aba hasebi ya watweniem se briefing no ebetimi aba but for now bia na bibi kakra bi na yabro so political machinations no ene COVID insensem ene Supreme Court Morris Ampao interview na ubetimi afre kakra na yetimi okay enti okay I'm said they went on a break yenti asemwa on myself obviously stage edru no na yenti de omo honum.
If you calculate the total valid votes cast obtained by the second respondent as a percentage of the overall total valid votes of 13,119,460.
Needs FM.
Efiora, me mwachi o Efiora. Yes on.
Machi o Efiora. Efiora mechi awonye so.
Hey, Ewura, enfase mamsu. Wati? Eba force search ya me. Mo yem no.
Won so pepe.
Hey, oh, wafi, we dia me pesa oni Efiora bekon. Efiora we dia ye kwa sori abo. Ewurade. Mo kwa sori. Ye papa ye. Ewurade ka soro ho a. Wati? Ebise se wo ba hwa wa kraba kumpo wunya. Onipa da sani timi koto this way chocolate drink. No ne yire ne mma edi nsuohie twabia nom anopa. No wi a wasade bia hye fridge mu. Wo mako school pon a wasan ba be yia nom. Enu mpore se ne nka ne twaso mu pa ende ye rekore. Ne fie wura beti ha. Anopa dio, ewia dio, enumre dia mo no makodew. Mo mame. Na mu wi a ma sora akotra so ndem se ye kosum ya.
Mesi na dia ya late nso mi yanke kabinje Efiora ye wi a yakosere bot pache. Ke Efiora wuti fia se light bill no water bill ba wuntua bi. Wo bo asa sika na fa koto this way chocolate drink na ba nom.
Hwe me catch you play fa. Say this way chocolate drink no. Metumi ato bi pa na so na me so mo ahwe wate. E de me hia ne nsuohie. Na nsuohie so me ntoi. Se me bufu a betumi ato bag mu a wate. Yeah, Efiora we nko ade ma abunfu.
Efiora fi de ya bre ma abunfu bi.
Munyam sumponie. Munyam sumponie. Na mo ba ya trimodefo.
FDA ahwe se Jodian Cratu Moja to say eye.
What? But dear Bakwan did na Bakwan in fact and ne dia ditwam. Adwa kan kure. Ebusuafo re bi dia ba afre kurasa ba pa ba kan kuraka.
David. Yenya ho bi e wo fie ha.
What? For say not back one, what's your name, Sania, and the Dennis and a children city and one. At the Sakrasia Benoit, I will be ran what I did.
Oh, when you're not your wetty. Neat palm nut extract and a media boa ben quines up.
Neat palm nut extract.
Anne, a befe fed the dirty a power can once a me, and would be a neat fools or much your good chance. And it's a said, I mean, Sabra wa benwo. Nafena me was say brako no abewo jaso, and for one could chim FN and you are home, and a media ya ben quine any steam.
Oh, the said neat fools at the back one, but dear, and then what to man for breast.
A bread or mat to be so powerful, he say, a ben quine when they yet giadagie. It is a winner neat palm nut extract, umrebra. A sign say, a babri so, and what ye, the namki to a bimpa will burn no canata frozen. Neat palm extract, and that's a neat a ben quine. Near Ed Danny say, a more sham to say a ben quine in dada noa, and a subios in your deal. What was a so mua who no be so, umrebra.
Neat palm nut extract. Oh, come on. Now, only baby. What dear sound come with pad, I wouldn't need palm be a bear back on the slow midi dear, will be able to puma, who's me ho.
Oh, I shall.
May I am part of this and beer.
Yo, and your mom for a mope be and will be uncle supermarket. Any jump
FDA, I just said, you didn't crack to more jet to say a ye.
What's cool, fresh and trendy with a new look? Makes you feel real good, that refreshing vibe. Satisfies you right just the way you like. Do you know? Do you know? Do you know? Ain't gotta do it alone. Specialized makes you glow. Anytime, anywhere. Specialized feel different. Always think special ice, natural mineral water. Feel different. Think special. This advertisement has been vetted and approved by the FDA.
Needs FM.
Need 100.9 FM so any. Sabri we say a be phone lines no until say basa yebe court wa ya sign court onum. But then ya can a political machinations say aban no nya nyina po na we na ekro ya can a Supreme Court apparent antics ekoso ewo ho na so ya can a COVID ho ensensem. What do you think is happening? Ubetimi afrayin nensusue bi wo ho na watimi ede wonsoso nsusue ede aba frayin e wo 03 02 24 35 40 03 02 24 35 40 ana 03 02 25 79 02 03 02 25 79 02 na yenti do beba. Good afternoon. Hello. 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 So why never frosting? Of my main way.
No question comment maybe and na you when you papa come on go to message with Eshemra edemo ma muni nara na papa could be the media put quite tuma obeto usai afufo na we dey best of my bra ka o ma nyaade o mo na bo tinu mo pega na fat o na mo pega bi na mo fo nzie no mo mo pe so ye me fo mo bo na nchimo bi so mo jo me ga na boni. It is a speaker. I'm going to make a call to be with you. I'm going to put in the room here now. No, for me, I passing the same one. Say, Baumia, I don't know. Yes, Yeah, mom next to them. The baby piano, and this among your phone, and I'm sitting here by your mother. The also to come across to their work and could see a guy to Ghana for Madame when a nature to dinner on the mouth to Papa. So, a the baby. They call it the decided they better about things. They cocoa, their cocoa, and the animal came to no one got there for some. Or from a friends here, no being to answer.
Right. Enti 0302 243540. Good afternoon. Nam.
Mamudu, Naya Kata Pitabura.
And I'm into way.
Mami Moa Bas. Bunya idea, man. Wabo, Papa, Kupo Show. Ya, Mema, Guadonco, so. Mechiano. Ultimate choose the wapa and then share device. Now it means wapa, I would get. Yakupo Show. And community, what you can be brave. Now, your best friend before. Yankupon say, Dr. Mahmoud Bamiano, you didn't be bow. You are Alan Kojok Martin, you didn't be bow. You didn't be piano, obey Ramhama. And I end this in Bia, will be choosing Bia, every beginning baby, Bia, obey Pitino. But your best friend, yet 8 years now, Nanado Danko Kuadonsa. The human power, your education, our dear Baha, and then me, what personal. Me and son, I watch Motomoko Shukupa. And COVID by ADAKABRI, me Bushupa. Metrolite, I might be a busy and chromatam Korean Bisada. And TM fire more than Panachi. Now, Numa Pan on Poso. Now, make a quarter on 7 Kakra. You were saying, don't get the Kaku, the money more. As a general secretary, you be some question, sir. What's it about your room? We are going to abandon for fraud. Now, you be some your calculation, sign and this for Yaya. ADAKABRI Mamudu. You were saying, don't get yet me and say, and I say.
Still a ongoing case until Yinyam Fama woman, not yet outcome of it. No, why? There was a pa. Right. Enti usu with me afraid na yeti. Hello. Abriva. Baby. I do we need to be a hello. Afternoon. I'm in here when a baby a fire idiot.
I said, look at your good one, Papa. MP before me, Alan, Bawunya. I'm been after 2 years, no more commerce. Santa Jens after so. Obo, on your prepare on them. The cell, Kufa, the cell. I'm pretty give no one funny and show my answer. The medical, what remember MP, my Damasi.
What is it? The assembly city here. Allah neba umi had the woman transit 2 years. I know my become the moon you crew mood dear Asante himself. Asante Boatin, Abe MP no dear. Wabuamra and then it. Get a Jeffrey Papa. Good afternoon.
Absolutely,
I couldn't do you now so.
Yo, ADAKABRI someone about that if you could do something. ADAKABRI. Let's now, it is a matter of can't send let's say, want to miss up down to NBC. The Papa can't send me many days. What's it? What do you mean? Out here, a coin is what I come from. I was about to matter. Every before, I don't know be solo. Obviously, and NBC now, that's what I can know. Baby, what another upon what was the church in my education? My college were model. Then I go to my 2040. Then I go to my I think to my ADAKABRI. What do you say? Listen, court case here, ADAKABRI, the main court, because the Supreme Court, my lawyer, and the main court, I will do my main ADAKABRI. 2004 yɛ twɛn ho adakabɛ yɛ 2024 most of that na ne yɛ tumi na mo yɛ maf sɔfo maame maf ra mo yɛ mesi yɛ twɛn ho mo de mo mbra yɛ twɛn ho ɔmo de masa to mo ko ndi baabi akɔ ama party ba mo yɛ na ɔkɔ we no kɔ yɛ ndc yɛ yɛ tumi yɛ twɛn ho yɛ ata bi kuu te sɛ gyamo a ɔde to okura yɛ twɛn ho mo de mo yɛ mbra mo ko wie na mo mbra yɛ twɛn ho adakabɛ wo bi so do
0302257902. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Father Cabre.
And I'm walking
Ofa na na mu akuni ofa o ofa se ba ko pe.
me ntie we.
Me mo ba funi e masuma wa ya mo man Ghana. Na mi fi a e papa ala ko de man te do bi ametia no. Na mi tia doctor adop so anya so team. Na yen yura kobra eje pon former general secretary of MPC so be papa no bi ala mi tia na ejuma so wa ya mo man Ghana. Ofa me ka kra me kan say eye covid na apa no. Ye best o man panyin say Mama, for you, vaccine for no go for me. I brought from you money. And the young man, you be go gonna have them. Then show me good pan, share so what. No, didn't pay to be in the fight COVID. I will be remember about an area. You want to, you will do so. Well, for another GM, I just said the idea of a vaccine, because me of our phone. Only if you don't want to almost for me do your more. The man said, the person there. And yet, maybe Alane, Baumenu, some no sooner. Yamwa, the not double for net as my powder in this war. Also, that in Germany from fast form. So the fish higher by a negative for go free. Take copy by the wood so free. Nakos by 1 million and Magana for Dini Papa. When in Papa, I say, we're Bana Banting Magana for Gana Punya Banner fast because about way what that is all or yes, Mamma. That in Germany from fast offer. I say, another cheat. Yes, Alan, now we have an opinion. You know, you. And you best say, Baumani Alan Nabla and Labonti. No matter what I'm saying, the aircraft from Omni Moshe, now we know because the iron, a Jack Patrick Aqua, the 2007, 2008, the collection, you do, the Arkin year, a better consider 2024. The Omna one, the Omega supporters, the aircraft for social media, offer and Panukum, Medaz.
0302243540. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
At your frosting.
The family bones in 50 hours.
Me and Tiwe.
ADAKABRI. COVID-19 happened. Rare, serious. Ghana is the new media group. At times, I stop on the ground, only the new media group. A good Sunday. No smart, almost on 9, but who wants it? To go 9, you need to be man and the members. Last year, Papa do station where you are. Also, or say, Obana will need ya. Your case in no. Yet to be or Papa once you look in to look at this. What Papa is carefree me home. Sunday, tight to call nine. Often call nine. Not just once you do, but show member. What's here to do again? Hey, Anna, my man call him before you so. And it's for the woman who was there, Papa. It's a witness I know better or whatever. I bet a radio station now. Mokra, most of my witness because one is a figure financial commission. And one, I'm also nine.
Ora. Mumungusun Komasam na and Hunter, why? Okay. 0302257902. Good afternoon.
Krobia Santi Kotoko.
Nebonsu.
Tia Santino. Kuma Pemwa. A Pemdi a Chilim Pimpemba. A Pemso Idia Chili. I just this year, when I'm asking you, I want to say.
Can you call them who ye Yamiasum you can baby? I will be a neighbor.
2 child ever you know, many in Casa for no one goes down.
Ay.
I was going to have you. Obia Mamma. Obia, can you know interview? No, Yakumo Shano. So, lecture one, and I will lecture.
Our lecturer.
Oh, when Mariana Bar and they were at home. They must have gone for 9 lecture na kan no ina ya fia hoden enimonyam esunsun enkai omampani achi ne kasi akopati we die eye tenia en sonji so 1998 sɛ lecture ne ka no yɛsi asua ne 2017 yɛsi lebron mpanimfoɔ sɛ agyaa na bɛtɛ ne ntoasoɔ na ɔbɛfɔre to mu ade obi de si abɛwe yɛnkɔ agyina ɛne abua na hyɛ bɛyɛ ne sɛ ɔmampanin bɛsɔ sidi nneɛma pɔ ɔde agu akwan so na mɛsra communicate college no so sɛ ɛho ebia na kɔkɔ na saa transi awuo no ntekwa nkɔtransi ntoa do nko ɔma timi nya samnya nko na so organizer nyakopɔn mfa sɛ dɔn kra nhyie ɔma no paayɛ no adie ne ani yɛ wɔn ɛdi sɛ bio deɛ wogya nkora wonya ɛma kɔtofo nkɔm asɛm mede mentofo ma kɔtomfoɔ nka ɔma asɛm neɛde wo nkɔ a wonya agyefoɔ ɔde hyɛ ma na ɛbɔ nso ɛsrɛ mampanin so budu yi si gye wobɛ wɔyɛ adwuma mampanin daworoma
Right. So, 0302257902. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Now, your first saying.
Within the catch round of fair, but say Equia Prim.
Aye. Now, we didn't move in COVID in Chimubia.
Debbie.
Why, yeah, dear, why, yeah, dear.
Who by a taco with their prayer. Okay, you know, Equia Prim, a good and a fracas the ginger, no, and no, you can see, and yeah, to be cheating. Like I brought about the
and Yaminadum.
Ayo, Mamentia, or Mampagini, and you know, for Don Gunja this year, Yamin for Papa, you will come to the Libya faction. ADAKABRI, we call to a somewhat tea, men can be done, will be petty. Now, what will the Abbey ADAKABRI? Enti Sibiu airport, you know, if Papa could find a way to walk. Gonna fool or abo fool back. We must have Yari. Bra, Yari, baby, Netanya, Abana, Yetui, and Car. MP Baku to me, and Hogas of Betono, Masiam, Gana fool year. If Papa Kufado, now saying Tim or Kodrati, the Sukatens or Bessie, Hospital Baku 88. ADAKABRI, if I told, where's the Baku, baby, one or do, baby. Oh, Yari, to Kuya, Mufakui, a candy as told him who for the teacher of phone, PP in a day, and I can make come or something, but bring no yebi. Who they are there? MP Baku to me, no smart, them of Frayina, if a Paku for the better to lose Baku Frayina, Nelson, as I say, yet to a banyan win, a weapon win, who's also a cata to no small bano, I want to see him to be like a woman. Mufrandu Sui, it is Regan of War, they be predator, most women can be made. Because we are real to see Mufran most women, the sales and Penfoso, Yoko, where they are, and yet 25, and ADAKABRI, so could then be a no ever come to see a Benjamin Mufrabe 27 as a cattle. Mufranu, or be granted Tosia, what is the fat of the mean Africa, or the woman's mercy the year Muframu, what's your woman go school, and ADAKABRI, you could for a mum way there, and your Kotoba, a mum with the Amuya, with the West Hand will come with him, Michelle Yacobo. No moment, I am Minimara, Evans, about what some bound for ya. Catch Evans is Michian for Papa now, no, Moody,
Okay, right. Yanshe say now lawyer Kutwampa on his feet. They just objecting to more than half of Rujo Metanunu's witness statement. TB. Now Yampa and you know that was I say.
Of the witness statement, where the witness is stating, again, in respect of what happened in the room, some of the time, when the officials of the EC said they were correcting, in quotes, errors, their officials had already signed the regional summary sheets, and yet they accepted that corrections were needed. At other times, when we queried certain collation results from the regional levels, they were quick to say, Once your representatives have signed, the only relief available to you is to go to court.
Right, okay. Quite unfortunate. So, appropriate sound, no. Into me and my. Into you will leave it there. Nah, yeah, I'm opportunity.
Objection are from line 3 of paragraph 4, paragraphs 5, 6, 7, 8, 11, 16, 17, 19, 20, 22, 23, 24, 29, 30, and 31 are objected to on the ground that they are not supported by the pleadings. Paragraph 9, 15, and 18 were objected to on the basis that they raise issues as to authenticity of documents in the election that the court has already dealt with. Paragraph 10 was objected to on the ground that the petitioner is seeking to build a new case. Paragraph 12, 25, and 26 are objected to as reflecting the opinion and irrelevant to the issues in controversy. Petitioner's counsel has argued that the objections are not supported in law because the testimony is premised on either the petition and the pleadings and the answers and prior testimony of the second witnesses, Dr. Pasa White, on the 3rd of February 2021, and the answer of the first respondent herein. We've considered the submissions of both counsel and the testimony and the pleadings in this petition. We are of the opinion that paragraphs 4, 5, 6, 7, and 18 ought to be struck out, and as they have no foundation in the pleadings or supported by the evidence, and the same is hereby struck out. Yes, the rest, that is the remaining paragraphs in the witness statement, are maintained. The petition is hereby adjourned to Monday, the 8th of February 2021 for co-examination of PW3 at 9:30 a.m. So in fact, apart from paragraphs 4, 5, 6, 7, and 18, the rest of the paragraphs remain. Yes. Please, you have to prepare for your cross-examination when you come on Monday. You are coming at 9:30.
Bro, my lords.
Yeah. Yeah.
My lords, we are most grateful.
Expecting that he was going to give his evidence today. The lawyers for the respondents, particularly the lawyers for the second respondent, Nanado Danko Akufado, raised a number of objections to the paragraphs of the witness statement. In fact, they raised objections to 23 out of 32 paragraphs of the witness statement. And the basic objection they raised was that those paragraphs, in terms of the evidence that was sought to be given, did not arise out of the pleadings of the petitioner. But they sought to say that those paragraphs should have been reflected in the pleadings of the petitioner. However, a basic rule of law, which I'm sure was lost on them, is that in pleadings, you plead facts, but not evidence. And we had pleaded the facts that were necessary to ground our petition. And this witness statement was designed to provide evidence in support of the facts that we have pleaded. So, for instance, we made it clear in the petition that the chairperson of the Electoral Commission had acted in an unfair, arbitrary, and capricious manner. And the evidence of Rojo Metrinunu, together with the evidence of Dr. Kwesa White, which I'm sure you witnessed the other day on the 3rd, was meant to make it clear the extent to which the chairperson was capricious, was arbitrary, and also unfair as far as the petitioner's case is concerned. And so we were taken aback when they sought to basically throw out the entire witness statement, saying that it was not supported by the pleadings. But as you have seen, I'm sure the court took a different view. And out of the 23 paragraphs, in respect of which objection was taken, it was only 5 of them that the court said should be struck out. And for us, that is a great victory. We will not comment on the substantive content of the petition, of the witness statement, because he's yet to be cross-examined on them. And I'm sure on Monday, when we return to court, the cross-examination will take place, and thereafter, if there are any issues arising out of or in connection with the cross-examination, we'll address you and clarify those issues to your understanding. Any questions?
Needs FM.
Well, that is so. If you watched lead counsel Mr. Tikata on his feet, he made it very clear that in respect of paragraph 6 relating to the fax machines not working and people walking in with information or faxed documents and so on, that the evidence was meant to make clear that the systems that they had put in place, because remember that in first respondent's answer, the EC said they had put in place a seamless and transparent system for the collation of results. And paragraph 6 of the witness statement, which you correctly identified has been struck out, was meant to say that the system that you call seamless was in fact not seamless, that it was in fact dysfunctional, and that the fax machines were not working, and there was frustration in the strong room. Of course, that is not the only evidence that we are providing. The rest of the paragraphs detail whatever took place in the strong room, and we think that ultimately, if those are taken into account, the probative value of what our witness will say will rise up. Any more questions? Pardon? Well, of course, if the objection was taken to almost the entire witness statement, if you watch Akodoampa on his feet, he listed 23 out of 32 paragraphs to be struck out. Now, if you take those that remained, say paragraphs 1 to 3, those are just introductory paragraphs about who the witness is and so on and so forth. So basically, if the entire 23 paragraphs were struck out, then it would have meant that we would have basically an empty witness statement that will not be supportive of our case. But here's the case: we have only 5 out of the 23 being struck out, and for us, those 5 do not materially damage the case that we are seeking to make by bringing Rojo Metrinunu as a witness in this matter. So that is why I'm saying that it was a victory for the petitioner as far as we are concerned.
The best station in the capital, Neat FM.
I don't think so. I don't think we are shifting the goalpost. And then, also, first of all, in his testimony, PW1, the General Secretary of our party, testified to the issue of whether or not any of the candidates crossed 50%, the 50% threshold as required under Article 63 of the Constitution. All right, and of course you saw that they brought calculators and sought to get him to calculate figures, showing how many votes were won and so on and so forth. So that is what we when we addressed you, we said that is the mathematics of Article 63. But this case is not only about the mathematics of Article 63. The case is also about the constitutionality of the conduct of the Electoral Commission and chairperson, and then also more materially about whether and the extent to which the declaration that she made is constitutional. Okay, that is an important point that we keep emphasizing. But it looks like there is an attempt in the media to reduce this case only to one issue that we have brought to court. It is not only one issue. There are weighty issues of law that the Supreme Court is being invited for the first time in the history of our constitutional democracy to determine. We underscore the point that this is the first time in the history of our democracy that a chairperson has declared a person president-elect based upon one set of figures and then subsequently repeatedly revised those figures. The question is, and I keep saying, can you put something on nothing and expect it to stand? It will not stand. And we are asking the court to declare that her conduct in terms of revision did not comport with law, did not comport with the Constitution, and therefore should be that declaration, together with the President-elect Declaration Instrument, CI 135, should be declared null and void and of no effect. And that has constitutional consequences. Of course, we cannot comment on the constitutional consequences because that is left to the court. But we are inviting the court to declare that her declaration, together with the instrument based upon which that declaration is now law, and for which reason Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo was sworn in as President of the Republic, are unconstitutional. That is an important point that you in the media must bear in mind. Any other questions? Well, that is a very obvious point, in the sense that they were saying Professor White, basically was giving hearsay evidence. Now, the person who was, in the strong room with him and who can corroborate what he is saying is being invited to give evidence. And the same people who said Rojo Metrinunu ought to have been called are now saying that he should not, be allowed to present evidence in full in respect of the facts that, of events that took place in the strong room. Now, I'll leave that to your judgment, and I wouldn't want to go beyond commenting on whether or not, the evidence that, he will give will corroborate what Professor White, provided to the court. All right. So
let me do the trick quickly. Okay. Yo, I'm say, and then you see our court in 8 hours. Anka enne, and anka ye dancing ya otosomi ensa. Anka oba bejina adeka mwakasa. Muhu say, enam nsemsembinti. Anka no fa abefu fidiso, no bia ashe no TV so. Nanso. Eye yenuanom a ewo eye Nana Akufo-Addo ne lawyers es original say ensem na ye dance din no ode abetu dwa no ensem bebre wo mo mpese yi firimu te se mre bi se ne omo ye no se ensem omo ka nanu nso a eye Dr. Professor White by no wo mo anom kan say Dr. Professor White no no na oni isi kasa ye nti e wo senka ne oni isi kasa ne na eba se ni oni yisi kasa ne ankasa abanso a muso ne nsem na ode bai no eye eduasa miensa no omayi nka ompese yi eye eduonu miensa firi mu eye eduasa mienu ko ompese nke yi eduasa miensa firi mu 23 Now, so you no Supreme Court say, emu enum pe and obey free mu. The minimum can say 32 no a yede buy no emu enum epe and the be free so. And just somewhere the buy ni na ne dodo na nkasa ejina ne nanso a enye se wentina me ya dom na doade ye ba enne nipa no be wura daka mu na ne wo se o ka kire amanfo no waka kire amanfo emi da mate.
Ya no me bi prime. Kunkunim kofe jinane so akora padi ko be ho ede da mana mana chire no. Ade shiamra kroma dance bi fo me kasemu chira awade esu mo pai mo hre nya kwa pie awon wasem nie we die bi si pen.
We are discussing.
Need FM, ya mama kwaba.
Colleagues, good afternoon. It's been a long day in court, and we have an opportunity to share with you a few remarks from our side as we wind down today's activities. As I mentioned, it's been long, but it's been a necessary exercise of going through some objections and then hearing the responses and having the court make a determination of what it would allow and what it would not allow in the witness statement. Let me start by recapping where we are in this trial and why we are here. The petitioner, Mr. John Dramani Mahama, former President of the Republic, invoked the jurisdiction of the Supreme Court, among other things, to say that based on the data contained in the declaration of the first respondent and the second respondent being declared as President-elect of the Republic of Ghana, no candidate will obtain more than 50% of the valid votes cast as required by Article 63(3). The petition also essentially makes the argument that the threshold of Article 63(3) was not met and that the declaration was in violation of Article 63(3). Goes on further to say that there were errors and mistakes and other things which will materially affect this election, and outlined 5 witnesses who would help adduce evidence to prove same. We all witnessed Mr. Johnson Asiedun Ketia come into the witness box and give testimony, and I think the jury is out on whether or not he was able to establish any of these things. And then we had Dr. Kpesa White take the witness box and mostly lead evidence to the effect that they considered that they were deceived by the EC chair to leave the strong room when the national or the presidential final results were being collated. Indeed, the word he used was that he was instructed, and subsequently he admitted that he cannot be instructed by the EC chair. Now, today, the petitioner introduced a 3rd witness, Mr. Rojo Metil Nunu, who was one of those 2 in the strong room, who is the one that we were all expecting would take the witness box initially. And there were a number of paragraphs that he had outlined that he wanted to adduce before the court, some of which we objected to. In the end, the court upheld what we believe are some of the most substantial ones, paragraphs 4, 5, 6, 7, and 18. The court upheld those ones and struck it out. On Monday, we are coming in for cross-examination. Like they say, it's one thing putting something before the court, it's another thing defending it when it comes to cross-examination. And so, counsel on our side, and we believe counsel on the side of the first respondent, look forward to an opportunity on Monday to now put the paragraphs that have been admitted in Rojo's witness statement to the test under cross-examination. Essentially, that is what has happened today, as I'm sure you are aware. We are happy that finally Rojo will be in the witness box so that some very important questions can be put to him and the bench or the court can take judicial notice of whether or not those answers to those questions and those arguments that are being proffered go in any way to help deal with the issues before the court. And as I wrap up, let me take you through the issues. Sometimes when you follow the long conversations, you forget what the court is trying to answer. The court is answering one question of law, 3 questions of fact, and 1 question of law that arises as a result of a fact. The question of law is whether or not the petitioner in his petition has any reasonable cause of action. The questions of fact are whether or not, based on the data, nobody got 50%. Whether or not the Article 63.3 threshold was met is a question of law, as I've mentioned earlier. But whether or not you include or exclude Techim and South, does it change? And then the other question of fact is whether or not all the so-called errors and vote padding affect the outcome of the presidential election results. The last question of law, which comes from fact, is whether or not the declaration will therefore be in violation of Article 63.3. If you find that at all material times Nana Akufo-Addo exceeded the 50% threshold, then that question of law will be answered in his favor, that then it was not unconstitutional. So we believe that we are making progress gradually. We are at a point where the third witness will be put in the box, and we'll see whether his argument stands up. What is interesting to note is that when our colleagues don't get a win in the wells of the Supreme Court, when they come, they say the decisions don't make sense, that the court is not being fair to them, etc. But today, you notice that as they got some of their arguments upheld, they seem to think that the court is the best so far. But we'll live to see what is out ahead of us. They describe it as a great victory. And let me explain to you why they describe it as a great victory. They describe it as a great victory because they realize that Dr. Kpetsahwai's testimony fell flat, could not stand the test of time. And therefore, they've tried to bring in Rojo, who initially they came with some reasons not to bring, so that he can. And if you listen to the arguments of counsel for plaintiff, Mr. Chachuchi Kata, he makes the argument that during cross-examination, some very significant damage was made to the argument. And therefore, it is proper for them to bring in Rojo to try and re-establish some of those ones. So for them, if many of them had been struck out, it would be a very devastating day, because then it goes to buttress the point that where Rojo failed, where Kpetsahwai failed, nobody can attempt to save him. Now, they seek to bring in Rojo to try and save Kpetsahwai where he fell flat. And we are pleased that at least they are no longer trying to poison the minds of the public against the court. We look forward to what Monday will bring. We'll take your questions. That's true. That's true. Well, let me quickly respond to that. What the counsel for the first respondent said was to draw the attention of the court to the fact that the procedure as it's unfolding, it appears to be deviating from the norm. The norm is that the petitioner makes his case first, and then the respondent responds. And even by CI 99, you are not allowed the opportunity of a reply. If you look at witness statements, for example, the petitioner refused the orders of the court to file the witness statement. What it meant was that the one responding rather put in his witness statement, as did the first respondent, and the petitioner then had opportunity to read it and attempt to now put in witness statements. So it's like the respondent is now going ahead and the petitioner is looking to how to close their gaps behind. In the case of calling witnesses, properly so called, you will notice that at the deadline for filing witness statements, Rojo Metunu's statement was never filed. They came to see the justices in chambers and made an application, which we didn't object to, because we believe there are some questions he must answer. But what has happened is that after Kpetsahwai has been cross-examined and his case has fallen flat, then they bring in Rojo seeking to correct or salvage some parts of that case. It is that which the counsel for the first respondent is drawing the attention to the court, that that is not the normal practice, and that they are literally allowing the petitioner to turn the rules upside down. I think it's obvious that the court is being very magnanimous. In fact, he used the word magnanimity. The court is being very magnanimous in hearing all sides and allowing things that ordinarily it will not allow. But, like we keep saying, always go back to the issues. What are the issues that the court is seeking to answer? And we are of the view that whatever things about fax machines not working, about phone call that they couldn't hear from, and then about deceit and a few other things, whether or not it changes 4751.2 or it changes the constitutionality of Article 63.3 is something that the bench will determine eventually. You have to speak up, sir, so that we can hear you. No, I haven't said that.
Justice delayed, justice denied.
Well, in the end, the court seeks to do justice and seeks to do it in accordance with law. Justice must be done, but justice must be done in accordance with law. You cannot do justice outside the law. That would be extrajudicial attempts to establish justice. We've had a history in our country where some people have
Needs FM.
Efiura, me mwachi o Efiura. Yes on.
Machi o Efiura. Efiura me chia wonye so.
Hey, Eura, enfase mamsu. Wati? I by force search me. Mo yem no.
Won so pepe.
Hey, oh, wafi, we dia me person ni Efiura bekon. Eh, Efiura we dia ye kwa sori abo. Eurade. Mo kwa sori. Ye papa ye. Eurade ka soro ho a. Wati? E be say wo ba hwa wa kraba kumpo wunya. Onipa da sani timi koto this way chocolate drink. No na yire ne ma edi nsuo hia twabia nom anopa. No wi a wasade bia hye fridge mu. Wo mako school pon a wasan ba be yia nom. Enu mpore se na nka ene twaso mu pa ene ye rekore. Na fie wura beti ha. Anopa dio, awia dio, enumre dia mo no makodeo. Mo mame na mu wi a ma sora akotra so ndem se ye kosum ya.
Bese na dia ya late nso me yanki kabinje Efiura ye wi a yakosere bo fa che. Ke Efiura Ruti fia say light we no water be oba wuntua bi. Wo boa say sika na ne fa koto this way chocolate drink. Na ba nom.
Ka hwe me catch you pray fa. Say this way chocolate drink no. Metumi ato bi pa na so na me so mo ahwe wate. E de me hia ne nsuohie. Na nsuohie so me ntoi. Say me bufu a betumi ato bag mu a wate. Yeah, Efiura we nko ade ma abunfu.
E koto mi. Efiura fi de ya bre ma abunfu bi.
Munyam sumponie. Munyam sumponie. Na mo ba ya trimodefo
FDA ahwehwe se adwede nkratoe mo agye atom se eye
what but dia bekwan dia di na bekwan di in fact ene dia di twam adwaka no kure ebusuafo re bi dia be afra kurasa ba pa beka no kuraka
David yenya hoho bi ya wo fia ha
what fi se ene bekwan no hwe ni ne se ne ene dia ne se ne chirhwam site no a ete se kurasa ba no a awo besra no wata de ba no bi
oh ene dia wati neat palm nut extract ena me dia bo abenkwan sa
neat palm nut extract
ane abefefe de dirty apa woka wasemi eno bi na neat foods o ma chia ku chansi mu enti se dia mensa brekora wa benwo na fe na me ko sai brakọ no abewo jaso enko wo nko chi mefe ne nwa ho ena me dia ya benkwan ani stew
oh na se neat foods e dia bekwan abade a ena no ato manfo bre so
e bre do matimi so pa fi say abenkwan we ne ye gi adaje enti se wonya neat palm nut extract a umre kora e say ababri so ena ode aye na nam ketewa bi mpo a wo ban no nkwan atafre won sa neat palm extract anase neat abenkwan ne e de ne say emu ohwam te se abenkwan ye nim dadaada no a ena so bie so nya dio wodo sa so mu hu na wabie so wo mra kora
neat palm nut extract oh kama dodo na oni bibi wodi san kwan we pa da wodi neat palm no bi e be ya be kwan besro mi didi a obi abopun mu a wosum ni ho
oh wa so
me am pa didi sem bia
yo oni amanfo amope bia no obi anko supermarket any jom
FDA ahwehwe se adwede nkratoe mo agye atom se eye
It's cool, fresh and trendy with a new look. Makes you feel real good, that refreshing vibe. Satisfies you right just the way you like. Do you know? Do you know? Do you know? Ain't gotta do it alone. Specialized makes you flow. Anytime, anywhere. Specialized feel different. Always think Special Ice Natural Mineral Water. Feel different. Think special. This advertisement has been vetted and approved by the FDA.
Utie oha extra punk no. Needs FM. Utie oha extra punk no. Needs FM.
Efiura, me mwachi o Efiura. Yes on.
Machi o Efiura. Efiura mechi awon yeso.
Hey, Efiura,